Hello, I just got back from announcing an esports tournament. I was an announcer. I think I did okay. And then we have prizes. Johnny, show them what they'll win. First place gets the Gold Star Trophy. I'm very tired, but I'm also very excited because I have this to unbox. This is the Canon EOS R5C. I have been waiting for this for so long. And while I hear people, saying the battery life isn't that great, I feel like it's been sold out everywhere. And Canon just raised the price on this. So like they're selling out, and Canon feels like the supply and demand chain requires a increase in price to lower demand. I was able to pick mine up technically at the original price. So the camera went from $4,500 to $4,800. Hot Rod Cameras is still selling the camera with this, a RF to PL adapter, which I need one of these anyway to use with my anamorphic lenses. It's really heavy duty, but that's not what you came here for. You came here because the title of this video was like unboxing a Canon R5C. So I do not own an R5. I've rented it for a couple of videos, my brother's wedding and the Speed Cube video. I still don't know how to solve one of these. I can do one side, but I still can't solve the rest. And I really enjoyed the R5. And Canon, I think, has done a good job with firmware updates to minimize overheating. And pretty much anybody that had one also got a Ninja 5 to record externally and avoid overheating as much as possible. But 4K 60 and 4K 120 still weren't great. The dynamic range still didn't maximize all of C-Log 3. So I got really excited. There had been rumors for a long time that Canon's gonna make an R5 with a fan, call it the R5C. It won't overheat. And I'd been waiting patiently for that. And I was kind of on the fence. I was thinking like, okay, the R5C is gonna come out and maybe a bunch of people be selling their R5. I already have a Ninja 5. I can pick up an R5 and, basically use it without overheating. I won't get to use 4K 60 or 4K 120 with the Ninja 5, but when I'm doing my long form interviews or event work, it'll be great. But then they dropped the bombshell that this camera, when paired with a power delivery bank or plugged into the wall with power delivery, can record 8K 60 frames per second. And I'm like, I need that. That will like really be great for my stock footage page. I can get 8K 60 footage. I need it. And then Lauren and I, we got married. And actually this camera was shortly announced after we got married, and we needed to buy a car. So I held off. But with the price hike and the Hot Rod Cameras, seeing that I could still kind of get it at the original price, I jumped on it. So here it is. Really just the box, I just opened it up and it's right here. They're not making me wait, not making me dig through a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. I love my C70. I use it, for pretty much all of my professional work. It's not as portable as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be this plus a little bit on the bottom. It is a bit chonkier. And we could do it side by side. Dang it, I touched the screen. I didn't want to touch the screen. So before we continue to unbox it, I have a few accessories. I have a tempered glass screen cover to cover the back screen. Great, I don't want to get dust on it, and the top screen. So let's do that really quick before I go any further. Oh, it's sticky. Oh, there's glue from the sticker on it.
A few minutes later.
Okay, screen protector's on. That's great. I have a little peace of mind if I forget to close the screen and put it in my bag. But yes, this is great. This is the right weight. This is what I need as my carry around a camera, so I can capture stock footage, but then also be able to record for long periods of time and use it as a B camera to my C70. So when I'm doing productions, I think this and my C70, they're going to be my A and B camera. This I'll probably use as the wide camera and the C70 as a close-up camera. And I probably will not use the speed booster adapter as much anymore with the C70. I'll probably just do straight adapt my EF glass to that. And then this also adapt EF glass. I still haven't really invested in RF glass, mostly because I really like the VND, the variable neutral density filter adapter. It'll be great for this. The C70 will have built-in ND filters, and I can use that with this. And then I have the standard pass-through adapter still for the C70 to use EF glass. And then I've got my ESR, so maybe I need to pick up one more adapter if I need a 3-camera production. But this also is a stills camera. It's still an R5. I can use it for photos. So when I do a photo gig, not that I do very many of those, this can be my A cam with 45 megapixels, and my EOS R can be my B camera for stills at 30 point something megapixels. So yeah, this is kind of slotting in right in between my C70 and my EOS R. And those two cameras work together really well, but I felt like there were compromises on both. The EOS R was full frame, but at 4K it had a 1.8 times crop, so it really wasn't full frame for video. And the C70 was great, but it was Super 35. And there's nothing wrong with Super 35 cameras, especially that one with the DGO sensor. It got great dynamic range. It's just, I didn't feel like it was my carry around with me all the time camera. Some things I'm noticing holding it in my hands for the first time. The little vent in the back here is great. So air comes in, air goes out, cooling off the sensor and the processor. I never noticed from the photos, there's a little notch here, so it makes it really easy to open up the screen. That's a great first impression. There is this little lip here to line you up. I'm spitting all over the camera already. Yeah, I got the slots for the cards. I have my CF Express Type B card right here. I've got a 256 Angel Bird, and I just got a 512 Angel Bird. These are only $180 now. That's great. That's excellent. Prices should continue to come down. That's fantastic. But I don't also have a 512 gig SD card to go alongside it, but I do have a 256. So maybe I'll just pair these up for now, and I'll keep this in my case for when I need it to go for a really long time. I guess I'll just take a look at the sensor really quick. Nope, it's closed by the shutter, which is honestly ideal. I love that the EOS R does it, the R7 does it. I wish the C70, even though it doesn't have a mechanical shutter, I wish it had something to close over it. But leaving the 0.7 times adapter, the speed booster, on it kind of protects the sensor, which is great. Just hopefully I don't scratch the glass of the adapter. Okay, let's continue in the box. Let's see what else is in the box. We have the things I did pull out on top of the camera is like, hey, sign up for Canon support. Definitely join CPS, Canon Protection Service, not the child protection services. A warranty proof of purchase card. I'm going to fill that out online probably. We've got a little warning about is this in English? This is in not English. This is oh yeah, second one's in English. There's a warning with the time code cable. Now it's just warning to use if you use the short release mechanism, it may be possible. Yeah, so they made this recessed for this DIN style, this mini or micro BNC. So I've ordered one from Alvin's Cables. Hopefully that comes in the next couple of days. So I can use it with the tentacles that we have at Editor and keep everything in sync. Okay, we got cardboard. We got Canon charger, excellent. Always great to have more of these. A LPE6HN. The name just keeps getting longer and longer. And I know people are saying the battery life, like you pop the battery in and you're only getting like 25 minutes on this camera. Like I get it. It's got a fan. The fan's working. It's spinning. It's also always processing 8K because it is a cinema camera. The camera is always outputting it for the, sadly, micro HDMI if you're using it in like a broadcast format. Speaking of, there is a cable lock, which is great. If you weren't going to cage it up, you can, and you are going to plug in an HDMI or USB-C cable, you can lock it up and keep the cables from ruining your camera body. I use this all the time on my EOS R. I never got a cage for my EOS R. I try not to cage things up too much. I don't really care for it, but I am going to do that with this camera. We're going to do that right after this. A great USB-C cable. These Canon ones are fast. I'm not sure what they're rated as, but they are fast. They're great. I love hanging onto them. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to use that for other stuff. I use the one that came with my EOS R with my A10 Mini all the time. We got a shoulder strap. I'm not really a shoulder strap person. I don't know. Anyone want a shoulder strap? Message me. I'll give it to you. And last but not least, the user manual. I probably should read over this. Maybe I'll follow up, and if I find anything interesting in the user manual, I can go over it in a video. But yeah, battery life. I just popped the battery in here. I haven't charged it. So what I think I'm going to need to do is plug it into, I got an Apple charger right here, plug it in to actually power it up and set my settings. I have all my menu settings in my C70, and I'm going to try to make my favorites menu match the R5 and the C70 together. But I'm not done with accessories. I also have, this is the first time I've ever purchased something from Tilta. I have the Tilta R5C cage, the one specifically for the R5C, not just the R5. So hopefully the base covers the whole bottom. I've seen people putting cages meant for the R5 on the R5C, and they technically fit, but then they don't set on the table, set down on the ground evenly, because all this is open. So I believe, my fingers are crossed, this Tilta one covers the whole bottom and has all the adequate, holes on the bottom to mount it to a tripod and everything. Starting out with the top handle, that's great. I didn't necessarily need a top handle. I still have a top handle left over from small rig from my C200 that I no longer have, that I sold. But this one was really nice. It looks, it more locks into a cold shoe spot. And my small rig one was a NATO rail one. Oh, and I also liked that if you slide something into the top shoe here, it's got a little locking mechanism. So if I slide my road mic in here, it's not going to accidentally slide out. It's got this pin to hold it in place. One on the back, a spot for a 15mm rod, 15mm rod here, and I can tighten that down. I don't really run my camera with a top monitor, but I can see why you'd use that. Oh, it also came with a micro HDMI to full-size HDMI. Hopefully a spot to lock that in. But here is the cage itself. Let's open this up. Oh, I did not close my knife. I should have closed that. But yeah, I have friends who have Tilta gear. They seem very happy with it. I mostly have small rig and then some Condor Blue stuff. Tilta, small rig, Condor Blue. If you want to sponsor me, I'd happily use your wares and review them and share them. But yeah, call me sometime. Interesting. All right, here is the R5C cage. Now, it doesn't seem super wide on the bottom. Actually, back here is where it's most wide. It's kind of a bummer, but it is Arca Swiss if I wanted to mount it on Arca Swiss tripod or something. I don't actually have any Arca Swiss stuff anymore. There is something to screw in on the bottom so it will connect with the 1/4-20, the second locking piece, and I believe, do I lock in stuff on the sides? I don't know. It comes with a little like tool. I like my Condor Blue bottom piece for my C70, but that's kind of the weakest stuff, is the magnets on the bottom that hold the tools in on the bottom fall off. I've lost them like easily, and Condor Blue even like sent it back and was like, hey, we know the magnets are too weak. We're making a version 2. If you send us that one back, we'll send you a new one. And they sent me one, and I still lost all the tools like immediately. This cage is a little noisy. I don't know how I feel about the noisiness of the cage. But man, the main thing, I didn't even talk about the main thing that I missed from the C70. I love the C70. I think it's a great sensor. The main thing I miss is the EVF. I miss being able to put it up to my eye, and I just love a built-in EVF. I've tried, I could get the Zacuto thingy that clamps on, or I could just get an external EVF that I have to power. But man, just a built-in EVF, just put this thing up to my eye. It's great. Cool. The tilter cage also comes with a cable clamp. Let's see, how does this... Oh, it connects. Okay, so there's two little screws. They'll connect here, and they will hold the HDMI and the USB-C cable to the body. So that's what this tiny Allen key is for. Man, I wish it had a spot on here to hold the Allen key, though. It doesn't. All right, so let's screw this on. I'm going to screw it on with the flaps closed and see if I can I open and close the flap even with this on. Because again, I am pretty like grab and go kind of user. I want to know if this is going to be nice, or am I going to end up just using the Canon one and leave this like adapter locked into it all the time and just live with that. Because that's definitely totally an option. That's basically my EOS R1. I just have a mini HDMI locked in here, and it adapts to full-size HDMI, and it, you know, when I put it on, I just grab that. If I need to plug my EOS R into my like A10 mini or a capture card or something, it's just ready to go. I just lock it in. Yeah, that seems to not be going anywhere. Not going to get unplugged, not going to get yanked. It's a little bit more work than I'd like it to be, but like I said, I'm not really going to be plugging in HDMI a lot, so not terribly concerned about it. So I'm going to actually unplug this. What I am going to plug in, though, is a USB-C cable. But before I do that, I have one last accessory here. This is from Small Rig. This is the Small Rig Universal Power Bank Holder, and I have a power bank here that I want to mount onto the camera. I can do 8K at 60 frames per second. Now, I could do 8K 60 frames per second, but I would lose lens control and I'd probably burn through the battery way too quick. But it looks like with a power delivery power bank, I can get quite a long time from the camera, like 3 or 4 hours. And I've picked up two brand new power banks to use with this camera. And my hope is to mount it on here, although, dang, this Tilta scenario doesn't allow me to get the two in on the one thing. I probably need to have the Small Rig cage. These quarter 20s are just a little too far apart. I do like that they have the RE locking pins, so I'm basically going to have to mount it like this, and then make the power bank vertical, which I kind of like. I kind of like the idea of having the power bank vertical, so I can kind of have two grips on the side, and I can put it up to my eye for maximum stability. So let's try that. Let's take and stick this on here. Get this as tight as I can, because I'm only going to have one screw on it, not two that it looks like it's meant to do. Drop in my, oh, nope, didn't make it wide enough still. There we go. Let's set it on the ground. So I'll also have some more ground setting stability here on the table. And yeah, I don't know, and hopefully, you know, I don't get in the way of any lenses. I think I'll be okay. And I have a short right angle USB cable. This plastic bit is a little too thick, so let's just take the standard Canon one. I was really excited for the right angle one, and I can still use it with the camera if I take off this like cable lock bit. So I don't know, I've just taken this little camera and made it way too heavy, way more heavy than I would really like. And that, you know, if I put this top handle on, will I still be able to put the camera up to my eye on the EVF? That's where it locks in right there. So, I mean, I need a different cable solution. I've got a short one. Then go in here. Ah, yeah, that's nice. I just wish this was a right angle. And look, it's charging. Yeah, it's working right there. Charging the battery. So I guess let me like turn it on and put a lens on here and we can see how this looks. It's pretty late, so I'm not going to do a lot of like test footage tonight, but maybe I'll do some test footage and a first impressions video over the weekend. Be careful when taking CF Express out. It may become hot after recording. Okay, so here's the R5C with the adapter. Here's kind of the biggest, fattest lens I own. Trying to mount it on, looks like the foot is in the way, but the lens itself is not. So if I just move this foot out of the way and then attach the lens and then reset the foot so it's straight. Now, if I'm doing, what just fell off? What screw was that? It's BC screw. I do need to. But if I'm doing this long of a lens, I should probably take the foot off or flip it off to the side, put rails on the bottom and do a lens support. And have rails and a lens support to kind of take on the weight and not let the weight totally rest on the camera body or the lens. So yeah, I should really kit it out if I'm using this lens, but I just wanted to put this lens on and just kind of see if with the battery bank on here, if it's, gonna work. And it really does seem like this battery bank solution is going to work. Like I said, this will probably run me, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. This battery bank's pretty new. I also really like it that this one's got a little OLED time or percentage readout on it. But yeah, we're still kind of front heavy on this. So not a great setup, especially for like my handheld stuff. I'll probably have my 16 to 35 on here, and maybe I'll run it without the cage. Recently, someone found that if you switch to media when you're not really using the camera, your camera's battery life extends a lot. Again, like I was saying earlier, the camera is always processing 8K footage, ready to go out of that micro HDMI cable. And the battery life is just always working. But switching to media playback, we're in much better shape. The processor isn't working as hard. The sensor isn't working at all. And you can, if you are just carrying the camera but you want to leave it on, or you're going between setups, you can leave it in media mode and then just switch back out. Can I do it with a half press of the shutter like a nope, I've got to hit media to switch back. And I just heard the lens reactivate, everything's back on, and the battery readout, if I take the USB off, I'm getting 0 minutes because I didn't charge the battery and the camera's powering off. But if I went into media mode, we'd probably be in better shape. We'd probably get a couple of minutes out of that even on this relatively dead battery. Actually, if I switch to photo mode, oh no, battery's still dead, but it's actually turning on. I could probably use the camera for a minute or two before it shuts off. It looks like the clock data is shared between both OSs. I was wondering if I boot it up for the first time in video mode and set the clock and then I switch it to photo mode, do I have to set the clock again? But it did not ask me to, so it looks like that does tie over. And yeah, people are saying, oh, it takes a long time if you switch from photo back to video. Turn off sensor cleaning in between. Like, I don't know if you have to do the sensor clean after every shut off from video mode to photo mode or vice versa, because the shutter does close. My EOS R shutter, after owning it for over 2 years, is like pristine because the shutter closes and then I don't touch even the closed shutter. So the dust stays off. I do have the sensor cleaning mode, and so maybe that is kind of a part of it, but I feel like it does stay much cleaner in comparison to my DSLRs that didn't have it, which is great. So I'm very excited for this camera. I'm gonna use it this weekend, and maybe I will follow up this video with a first impressions video. And I know my last video was about the R7. Brandon brought his R7, and I asked people to ask questions, and I have questions. So I guess I got to get Brandon back over here to answer your questions that you've left. But if you have questions about the R5C as well, leave a comment below, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Peace.